Hello and welcome to this call on why women want to live a purpose-driven life. My name is Charlotte Rønnedam, and together with Janneke Hage, we are organizing this Women Empowering webinar series. And tonight or today's guest, depending on where you are, we have Susan Carver. Susan, are you with us?
I am here. How are you, Miss Charlotte?
I'm fantastic, and I can hear on your voice that you are too.
Yes.
The reason actually that we wanted Susan to be on this call is because what I see is that Susan is an amazing woman. I don't know her that well, actually not at all. I've only seen her, but the first time I saw Susan on stage, um, I think it was 3 years ago or something. She just talked directly to me, even though I don't know how many thousand we were in the audience. And I just said to myself, I want to learn from this woman. I want to be at one of her previews. I want to learn from the best. I haven't been to a preview yet because of the distance, but now I have achieved getting her online here, so not only I can learn from her, but we all can learn. So I'm very happy to do that. So Susan, could you start by telling a little bit about yourself, your background, why purpose-driven life is important for you? I think a lot of people on this call might not know who you are, so let's start there.
Well, thank you again for thinking of me. That's very kind, Charlotte and Jonica. I appreciate that. I really was attracted to this because of the reason of the purpose. When I saw this business 18, 19 years ago, that's exactly what I was looking for in my life. My life lacked purpose. I had a job, but that's not what was going to make me fulfilled. I worked on a documentary when I was young, and I was broke and going around begging for funds to get things donated and living with almost nothing. But I can tell you, in those years that I was working on that documentary, I had so much purpose in my life. And a word that really is synonymous with purpose is passion. Because when you find your purpose of what you're supposed to be doing with your life and your time on this planet, the passion will come out of you. I always share with people, Charlotte, people say, oh, you have so much energy. And I said, no, we all have the same
Yeah.
parts. We all have the same parts inside of us. And I said, the difference between me and maybe someone who has very low energy is the fact that they haven't found their purpose. And when you tap into your purpose and you start living it and experience it day after day and week after week and year after year, then the passion and the energy will increase. Even if you consider yourself kind of a low energy person, once you tap into that purpose, then the passion, then your energy naturally comes up. So that's what I was looking for almost 20 years ago, was a career that obviously earned income, because I could go volunteer at a women's shelter, or I could go volunteer at a pet rescue, and I could have purpose and I could feel so good about what I was doing. But that won't pay my bills, and I have to pay my bills. So I was looking for a career that had purpose, that would give me that same passion, but I was looking for something that would also pay well and give me the best of both worlds.
That's just so true. You brought up a word, broke, and what we talked about before we got online was that a lot of people are broke in today's economics. It's not really looking bright out there, and it doesn't matter if you're in the US or if you're in Europe, or anywhere else. People are struggling at the moment. So for you to like going from broke to where you are today, how can we help people achieve the same? How can we start from scratch, as we called it on the flyer?
Okay. Well, that's a very good question. First of all, it has to start with not accepting, I firmly believe, your current situation. You cannot accept it. You cannot say that well, my family had money 2 generations ago, and then somebody got into a bad business deal, or a divorce happened, or there was some kind of situation that took that wealth away, and this is just the way it is. Or, like in my instance, I had probably at least 3 or 4 generations of people that were, I hate to use the word class, it just makes me cringe, but it's the only reference point in which we have to talk. So I do apologize, but trust me, it's not one of my favorite things to talk about. But I was definitely, my grandmother was my grandmother's mother was, I would have to say, very lower class and very poor. And then my grandparents were poor, basically built their own house. And then my dad and my parents all worked, and I don't think any of them ever earned over $25,000 or $30,000 in their lifetime. So I think we elevated to lower middle class, and that's what I was raised in. And when you're raised in that, you either accept that as this is the way my life is going to be, or you say no, you draw the line in the sand and you say, no, I'm going to write a different chapter. When I get control of my life and my decisions and I'm an adult, I'm going to rewrite the next chapter, and the chapter is not going to be one of struggle and lack and denying yourself or your children or your family things, or not living in the right neighborhoods, so safety-wise, and not experiencing this wonderful life that we have. And so I think it really starts, Charlotte, with a decision that you're not going to continue the way things are. And it's drawing that line in the sand and actually saying, I'm not going to accept this anymore, and detaching yourself from your current circumstances. That is so important.
Yeah.
People, I just cringe when people say, I'm not this and I'm not that. And there's a song I think I heard on the radio that was saying, we're never going to be royal. And I heard that song, and it's like, it's just, that's not who we are, and we'll never be that. And it's like, really? It's like, okay. So the first thing you have to say is you have to be in reality. Where am I? Social economically, where am I? Okay, so is this where I want to continue? Yes or no? Okay, then you have to take a look from there and decide, all right, if I did not have money 3 years ago doing what I'm currently doing in my position or owning my company, and then today I have limited resources of not having enough money in my job or in my business, then you have to see in the next 3 years, is there really a plan to dramatically change that? And if there's not, then something has to change. I've always admired the saying that says the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
right. So a lot of people decide, I'm going to go back to school. And if I had $1 for everyone that I had met, because that's around my age, and they're going back to school, and I'm looking, kind of at their driver's license and saying, you're closer to retirement than high school. So going back to school, running up more debt to have on your resume another line that might put you in front of the other 300 people that also went back to school and upgraded their resume, it just doesn't seem, and then the time you get out, now you're even closer to retirement, and nobody wants a 55-year-old woman with a business degree who's never been out in the world doing business. So it's just a kind of an interesting thing. I'm very big on education. I have my college degree, but that's not really the answer. But it seems that so many people that are struggling financially will go get loans, Charlotte, and they'll go anywhere from, just in dollars, sorry, I can't translate all the people in their currency, but in dollars, you're looking at probably somewhere between 15,000 to maybe 35 to 40,000 to get more education, and you still don't have a position. And it's just amazing to me. So look at the reality and then make that decision. And then really what I did, Charlotte, is that I looked at things that created MSIs. And let me familiarize you for that word for the people that are on the call that may not be familiar with it. It's a multiple source or multiple stream of income. It's having multiple sources or multiple streams of income, MSI. And so if you continue in the metaphor in your rowboat and you're just going in your boat, there's only so much horsepower that is getting in that boat that's taking you where you want to go. But if you can metaphorically look at bringing some volunteers into your boat, and they all come with oars, and they're not costing you a salary, and you can bring these people into your business, then those people sitting behind you are little small multiple sources of income. They're more than that. They're human beings with their own dreams, but I'm just talking about from a logical standpoint. If you're going to change your situation, then you have to get more horsepower. If you don't like the way your car is running on 4 cylinders and it's not got the speed to take you where you want to go, then you have to figure out how to upgrade it to 6 and 8 cylinders to be able to get you faster to where you want to go. So that's the beautiful thing about Nikken, is it gives us an ability to very inexpensively create multiple sources of income. Typically, multiple sources of income are stocks, which are not inexpensive to purchase.
Then
Real
you
estate,
need money.
Right, exactly. Well, you still need money in Nikken, but you can put it together piece by piece. You cannot go buy an investment property and say, hey, I'm going to give you $5,000 this year, and I'd like to pay you $5,000 every year for the next 20 years. They're not going to do that. They want their money and they want it now.
And what you said, that people are willing to use money for a new education.
Right.
So that way you can convert to say, okay, you actually want to be in debt because of this education, but with the same amount of money you could actually go so much further.
Oh no, with a fraction, of the money.
Yeah, exactly.
I took the price of I think like a MacBook Pro, an iPad, and a couple of iPhones, and I've turned it into a few $1 million. So I know what it was like to start with very humble beginnings, but I got my samples. So number one, you ask me the question, you make the decision. Then you say, how can I create multiple streams of income? Because that's the only thing that's going to get you out of the situation. And so then the third thing I did is I got my product. So one, I made the decision. Number two, I looked at something that was going to give me multiple streams of income. Nikken was perfect, and it fit my purpose, which was making a positive difference in people's lives physically. And then that third thing is I took what small resources I had as far as income and as far as savings, and I put it into my samples of my products to be able to show and to demonstrate quick sale, to loan people, a few things for myself, so I could really start to get some traction and change my situation.
That's true. And what I also heard you saying is that you need a plan. And sometimes I find it interesting that people use all their energy of planning the 3 weeks summer vacation, but they don't use time for planning their life. And for you to have a worldwide organization, you must have done some planning, and I know that you have brought along a special guest tonight, Mariella, so I think you could introduce her and tell us a little about her dreams and why she's living a purpose-driven life, and the plans to go worldwide.
Okay, well, let me start, before I introduce her, let me go ahead and start then with how does someone who puts their name on it, on the business. I started my business from their house. How did they build a business that I believe I'm in 8 or 9 countries. I'd like to be in more, but 8 or 9, I'm not complaining at all. And it's really very, I'm in awe of how it happened, because I have 10,000 distributors in these countries, and every single one of them came back as a result of 4 people. So 4 people 4 strangers, 4 introductions of people I did not know until after I started my business have completely transformed my lives and the lives of thousands and thousands of others. But it all started with 4. So that's something for those that are listening tonight. It doesn't take 40 amazing leaders that you personally know to start your business. It starts with probably less than it's on your hand, and definitely less than it's on 2 hands. And so today, everything that I've accomplished in my business is only because of 4 people were also looking for the same purpose-driven life that I was. 4, 1 man and 3 women. And from there, I supported my team. I got under those 4 people, and I worked with them. I am responsible to them. I'm not responsible for them. It was their responsibility to take ownership of their businesses, but it was my responsibility to answer their phone, to answer their emails, to get on planes and travel, to grow personally so I can continue to share with them and to support what I've started. So starting a global business, one of the little phrases that I like to use for people that are just starting is you want to start local. And the reason you want to start local is because it's inexpensive. It's just a practical financial way. For those of you that have families or small children, it's not practical for you to be gone 6 or 7 days, a couple of times a month or something to go fly a couple of thousand miles away and develop your business. But the thing that I will point out is from the beginning, I didn't want a business that was just in my neighborhood or my zip code. I wanted a business that was global because I love to travel and I love to learn things from other cultures, and so that's very important to me. But my little tip is for you to start local, but really think global and be open to that. I had a lady that attended the preview who's from the Eastern Bloc over there, and she's so excited, and I told her, I said, well, I most of my business, I get on an airplane and I fly north to Canada or fly south to South America. But I said, if you're really committed, if this is really your dream and you are serious, then yes, we will take on, that part of the world over there. But it's always making sure that you have your vibration and that you're open to building a global business, because I was from day one, just because of the fascination, the tax benefits, Charlotte, and so many other things that were there. When you ask people, I've been interviewing thousands of people for my downline and one-on-ones and over the years, and travel is always in the top 3. What do you want to have more of or do more of? And it comes out every single time that people love to travel. And here we have a business, you can do it on your own terms and actually have the benefits of writing off the tax write-off. So that's really exciting. As far as my guest that's on the line, this woman I met, and I was very taken with her because she has the same vibration as far as a commitment. I've gotten pretty good at being able to sniff out or recognize someone's commitment level, and not to me and not to Niken, but a commitment to change their life and a commitment to have, like we're talking about tonight, a purpose-driven life and to have more control. And I recognize that kindred spirit in her. She has a much better tan. She is a very pretty lady. But I recognized in her the kindred spirit that we have, that she is very focused, and when she commits to something, the commitment doesn't waver. And so I waver, and I was very taken by that. So it's my pleasure to introduce Miss Mariela. She's originally from the beautiful country of Colombia area, and then many years ago she came to the United States and has raised her family here. And Mariela is a current gold distributor, but she's got a lot of momentum that's moving her toward platinum. And so Mariela, here in the last 10-15 minutes, I just wanted to just interview you just a little bit and kind of share why was this attractive to you, and why is this something that has been a career and a purpose-driven life for you? Why has Nikan been such a good match and a fit for you?
Okay, first of all, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity of sharing my story. Thank you, Susan, for choosing me to be a part of this call. And thank you for your mentoring. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you for your, I mean, you've always been there. You have always been there for me and for my business. And for that, I thank you so much every day of my life. But anyway, the reason why I found this to be a fit, a perfect fit for me, I always knew that there was something better out there. And it was not going to school and getting a degree, and it was definitely not having a well-paying job. And it definitely was not owning my own business, which is exactly what I had when Nikan was brought to me. And I had already tried several things, and none of them were giving me the satisfaction and the benefits that I was looking for. So Nikan came. I found Nikan. I heard of Nikan. I met you, and after I met you, I said, I want to do what this woman is doing. I want to be similar to what to the success. I want to have the success similar to what she has. Why? Because when I worked for somebody else, or even when I owned my own business, I wasn't free. I didn't have the freedom of choice. I was tied to an office. I was tied to a schedule. I was tied to a partner or a boss. Having my Nikan business, today I want to share with you, I have become a grandmother for the 6th time. And I didn't have to ask anybody's permission to come to the hospital and be with my son since 6 o'clock in the morning. I've been able to spend the whole day with my son, my grandkids, my whole family, without having to ask for permission or ask or close the door of a business. I've done it on my own time. I have the freedom. And even doing this, spending time with my family and seeing the delivery of my grandbaby, I am still doing my Nikan business. Here I am on the call. So that freedom, the freedom of choice, being able to choose what I wanted to do, being able to work with the people that I wanted to work with, being able to reach the goals that I set myself out to meet. Those reasons to me are very powerful. I would think if I had to put it down in one phrase, it would be having the freedom. To me, having freedom means so much.
Well, Mariela, when I called and congratulated you on your grandchild, you're far too young to have grandchildren, but I'm glad you have them. You know, it was interesting because you said to me that you were there in the morning for the birth of your grandchild, and then you were there for the birth of a new distributor in your business today. So you've had two births today. Can you quickly share that?
Okay, I was in we were in the delivery part of the morning, and then I got a text message from one of my downlines that will soon be a silver, and he said, Mr. So and so would like to meet with you. Can you come? And then I said, I'm at the hospital. As soon as I can get away, I will be more than happy to meet you. And so after we were done with the delivery, and I got to kiss my grandson, and we got the pictures, and I got to spend time with my family, I got in the car, I drove over to Ivan, one of my leaders' place, met with the man, signed him up. He wants to go tomorrow meeting, and this man is so excited. I mean, he wanted me to sit this afternoon and talk to him about Nikan, and I said, I'll sign you up and let's talk tomorrow. But yes, I was able to go sign him up, and I'm back at the hospital with my family. So that freedom, there's no price for that freedom. There is no price for it.
Wonderful. Well, let me ask you another question. There's people that that are new, that are listening on this call, and then there's people that are restarting their business. What advice would you have for someone who's restarting their business? What would you, because I know you had someone that in the country of Colombia that was not very focused or not very excited, and then they kind of came alive. But how would do you have any advice on how to restart a person in their business?
Oh, definitely. Yes, in Colombia, when I signed up, it's going to be already 5 years. I went to Colombia and I shared it with the doctor. And he said, this is phenomenal. This is fantastic. I'll join you later on, but I'm not ready right now. 2 years later, meaning 3 years ago, he signed up, didn't do anything with the business. Didn't do anything. I mean, he bought his water and his lead system, etc., but he didn't do anything. And now that we went back to Colombia with Susan, which was a phenomenal trip, very, very powerful trip, he decided, after meeting with us and meeting with Susan, he decided that he's ready. And so my advice is, number one, be patient. I've been told by my sponsor many a times. I tell her, why can't people get started like right now? Can't they see this? Can't they see this? And she always says, Mariela, take it easy. They'll get in and they'll be active when they're ready. Not everybody is ready at the same time. And so my advice, be patient. And when they're ready to start, and when they're ready to start with them. If people want to crawl, you crawl with them. If they want to walk, you walk with them. If they want to run, you run with them. So right now with this doctor in Colombia, we're running because he's more than ready. So yes, I mean, be patient.
Yeah, patience is important, but I know it's a silly picture, but most people think in pictures, but you don't want to, as the hen, you don't want to sit on eggs that aren't ready to hatch, or do you?
Oh, no, definitely not. Definitely not. Just because he wasn't ready, I was not going to sit around and just wait for him to be ready. I moved on, and I built with other people, and he has seen my growth, and he has heard my growth. And so now he says, look at what you've done, and how long you've done this. This is something that I definitely can do. But yes, definitely you don't sit on them. You continue. There's a lot of people out there. There's many people out there that are waiting for us to talk to them, and I mean, it's just, like you say, Susan, we're one person away. You never know how close you are to success unless you keep on talking and keep on sharing.
Right. Tell me a little bit about your team, because one of the things that I've noticed, that's another reason I wanted you on the call, because the purpose of your business, yes, is to take care of you financially, but it's more than that. And I know the way you are with your team. I know you're going to kill me by putting this on a recording, but you can also share with us, A, the relationship you've built with your team. How do you go about and do that? And then B, tell us about your second office that you have.
Oh, well, thank you, Susan. Thank you. Yes, we have become so close. We're called the Orlando Powerful Latin Leaders. And there's Barushka, and there's Claudia, who happens to be my niece, the member of my family that believed in me, which is not very common, but she's one of the strongest leaders in my business. So we have Claudia, we have Barushka, we have Ivan, we have Maria Teresa, we have Clarita, we have Elsa, and we have all become like a family. And we support each other, even though they may not be in the same downline, that we work cross-line. It makes no difference. Claudia has no problem going to do a meeting with somebody from another line, from a cross-line. But we enjoy having the meetings. We have our meetings on Thursdays. And then we decided, Latinas that we are, we decided, oh, hey, why don't we, after the meeting, why don't we get together and go and have a drink, margarita, 100% of the times. So we decided to call this place where we go have our margaritas, we call it our office number 2. Reason being, not all of the leaders want everybody in their family to know that you get out of the Niken meeting and you go and have a drink. So we call it the office number 2. So we go to the office number 2 very frequently, maybe once a week, once every other week, but we do spend time, and we have bonded. We've become a family. And to me, that is priceless. That is priceless.
All right, and just to wrap this up before I turn this over to our wonderful host that invited us, is there any last things that you'd like to share about maybe why people would be attracted to this, or why do you think it's such a good business? Not for you, but why do you think it's a very good business in your opinion?
In my opinion, Niken is a really good business because we can reach the goals that we set for ourselves. We can accomplish the dreams that we have set out to accomplish, and most of all, we can touch other people's lives, which I could not do before with my profession. We can touch people's lives. We can improve people's quality of life or their finances, or both. And so I believe that if we put that in our hearts and we have a passion for it, for helping people improve their health and their finances, or both, we will definitely have a successful business.
Wonderful. Well, Mariela, thank you so much for coming on the call. Congratulations on the birth of your latest grandson. And
thank you.
We'll turn it back over to our host. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, and thank you very much, Mariela, and also Susan. Yes, it was. It's always nice to have all of you different people getting on and having your thoughts about different topics, and it really is as an inspiration to a lot of others of us. And like you started off with, Susan, the thing of wanting a purpose-driven life and also tapping into your purpose and your passion, and that's when your natural energy comes out, and that's true.
I can't even tell you. It was such a revelation for me. People say, "Oh, you have so much energy," and it's like if you put me in an office, Jonica, if you put me in an office in a cubicle, answering complaints in customer service, do you really think I'd have the same energy?
No.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Or if I was doing, if I was working in some kind of profession, that I didn't believe in, or scamming people on the internet, or trying to scam seniors, or something. I mean, do you really think that I would have the joy and the energy that I have? Absolutely not. It comes because I'm doing something that feels good and that has purpose.
Exactly, and that's the important thing for most people, because a lot of people are sort of stuck in their situation, but there is something you can do about it. And I also like what you said that we shouldn't accept our current situation, but we need to want a change and rewrite the chapters to come, because we can actually make a change for a better future for ourselves, and also our environments, with the people in our family, etc. And what we really can do with what we have with Niken as a tool is making a big difference, and positive difference, in so many people's lives, and you also mentioned this, that 4 people, 4 strangers, they made a truly amazing difference in your life. And that's what it took to get you to where you are now. And you probably didn't think that you would be where you are now, when you initially started.
No, not at the income. I knew I could do well in this. I saw people. The thing that I really looked at is I had a dead-end job that was making about $30,000 a year, and I just said to myself, well, I can at least make $30,000 in this. I can at least make $30,000. I know, and at least be happier and get up in the morning and enjoy what I'm doing, and leaving a trail of healthier people behind, that because we crossed paths. So it wasn't, I did have a big vision, but the immediate vision was I can at least support myself and get out of a miserable environment and go to something more positive.
Exactly, but that's also the thing, that you start local, as you say, but you have to think big. You have to, or you do global.
Do you know why? Do you know why, Janica? You have to start with a big vision. Is because people will come along and people will disappoint you. There's an author, I can't think of his name right now, but that comes to mind. And he said the greatest joy you can ever have in your life is developing people. And he said the greatest disappointment and sadness that you will ever have in your life is a career of developing people, because people will let you down. People will let you down, but they'll also put a joy in your heart. When I saw the very first Royal Diamond underneath me cross the stage in the Millionaires Club, that someone underneath me that I had spoken to had earned $1 million in this company, I can't even begin to tell you what that felt like, to open the door for someone else. And then what it feels like to have someone that's going to invest and become an executive on Friday, and then when you go to meet with them on Monday, they're not doing anything. So it's the same business, and I really want people to know that. It's the same business. So the purpose that you have to have, and your why for doing this has to be very, very high and very strong, because you will get kicked in the teeth, you will be disappointed, but those moments like Mariella and I had just last week, a man couldn't raise his hands out in front of him, you know, very high at all. And we put the one of the products underneath his arm for about 30 minutes, and this is an 81-year-old man, had his arm over his head. And it was like,
and that's amazing.
You know, yes, he's been to physical therapists, he's been to chiropractors. It's not me, it's not Mariella, it's the tools that we have in our business that absolutely was the difference for him. So absolutely, you have to have a very big reason why you're doing this, and it has to be rooted very strong, because people will disappoint you, but they'll also just put a smile on your heart that will just be unbelievable.
And then, you know, it was also mentioned when you, Mariella, talked about the freedom of choice, like Mariella mentioned, which is so true. That is what we can have through this business, that we don't, you know, have to ask for permission from a boss, etc., to do things we want to do, or go places we want to go when we want to do it.
Right.
And that is important to a lot of people, and especially with the hectic days most people have. It was also mentioned this, you know, the restart button that we've heard so many times. There's so many people who sort of want to get going and they're not doing it, and they need to do the restarting. And then, okay, with some of those people, we need to be patient. We need to learn or teach them how to crawl and then run with them when they want to do that. But not the least, the fact of building with others at the same time, because, as was mentioned, that in doing that, we inspire others.
Well, here's an important fact, and I'll make this as brief as I can. This is the important fact. When someone stops their business, let's call it, you know, in America we have a slang called, let's call a spade a spade. Let's not, let's not flower it up and make it a doily. No, let's call it what it is. A spade is a spade. First of all, number one, we're all presidents of our company. Now, I know a lot of people on the call may not feel like a president when they get started, but you are the president of your company. You are the CEO the day you start, not of Niken, but of your business. You are at the top, okay? And you choose who you bring into your business. But one of the things that's important is that when you close your mouth, your business is closed. It's not a literal door, it's your mouth. So as soon as your mouth closes, your business is closed. And so when you talk about people restarting their business, what they did for some of them is they actually, some of them permanently, and some of them temporarily, have fired themselves. Let me use that word again. You have fired yourself. But people use the word quit. Oh, well, I quit doing Niken. No, you didn't. You fired yourself. You closed a company that does not pay rent on a building, that does not have a $5,000 or $30,000 a month employee payroll to meet, that is not carrying inventory on the books that is due every 60 or 90 days, so, and doesn't have $30,000 or $130,000 of equipment, as in a restaurant. You closed your business. You didn't quit anything. You know, I don't know if you know what this is, but in America we have something called brownies that little girls join, and Girl Scouts. It's like you learn different things in camping and, you know, that type of thing. It's a fellowship for young girls. Well, you know, I joined brownies. I joined Girl Scouts, and I eventually quit those things. But I don't even like to use the term joining Nikken, because I didn't join Nikken in anything. I started a business as a CEO and president, as broke as I was, and I then decided where I will go from there. So when you're restarting your company, number one, you have to realize you're the president and you closed the doors because you closed your mouth. And the only way it's going to work, once you take responsibility, is then you go ahead, and number two is you go ahead and look at it and you say, why did I stop in the first place? Or you go back a little further and you go, why did I start this in the first place? Why did I open a Nikken company? Why have I chosen to market these products? And I can guarantee you that their vision and their reason for doing it was very fuzzy and very unclear. And the sacrifice, oh, if it started to hurt or was a little inconvenient, then they stopped. Because they did not know why they're doing this. Absolutely not. And if you know why, see, I knew from day one why I'm doing this. I'm doing this to get out of a dead-end job that pays $30,000 a year, that I'm miserable. That's why I'm doing this. I didn't quit Nikken, stop Nikken, close my company, and go look for another job. Because another job might be a little nicer people or a little more money in my pocket, but it's not purpose and it's not freedom. So why would I go look for another job? When the problem with diabetes, the problem with lack of sleep, the number of autistic children, all those numbers are not going down, they're going up. And we have solutions for these things. So again, why am I closing my company when these problems, let me just give you a quick number. When I started my business 18 years ago, there were 17 million diabetics in the United States. As of just a couple of years ago, I read the U.S. figures, there's now 26 million. I have 9 million more customers for our magnetic insoles than I did when I started my business. Why would I close a company when I have 9 million more customers?
You wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't.
There is, like, the market is in such a way that there is no way that one should close the business now.
That's right. But, so it comes back to, what are you willing, and let me just leave with this comment because we need to wrap up the call. This is my favorite.
To say at the end.
Okay, all right. This is the last thing I want to say. One of my favorite sayings is this, and it is the epitome of my business. It is the epitome of what I've done in my business over the last almost 20 years. Number one, I will do today what others will not do, so tomorrow I can live as others only dream of. Again, I will do today what others will not do. Invest in their business, give up some free time, go to trainings, do some readings, personal growth. I will do today what others will not do, so tomorrow I can live as others only dream of. That is the delayed gratification of the gift of Nikken.
True, very true. What was I thinking? It's a lot more things you said now, you know, which is great, and I'm sure everybody's really enjoying it as well, you know, because you're giving a lot of both useful information and a little bit of a kick in the butt and so on, that, you know, which we need to get out from where we are in our own little situation and not seeing the bigger picture of things.
Yes.
Really. Yeah. So just one question. When you talk to new people, what do you say with regard to what you do, if they ask you?
If they ask me what I do, I have a couple of different answers. It depends on who I'm with. Because again, when the words come out of your mouth when someone asks you what is it you do or what business you're in, you have to, I remember learning years ago, you have to create curiosity. And so curiosity for different people, for a sports person, is different from someone who's a stay-at-home mom and looking for another stream of income. So you have to say what you're going to say with the best opportunity of what's going to create the most curiosity for the person that you're speaking to. If I'm speaking to like that 70 or 80-year-old person, there's a very good chance that he's not really interested in the business. Now, he might be, but I know if he asks me what I do is I actually carry a line of alternative medicine, medical supply products that are energy medicine based that help people that are, over 50 feel fantastic in a natural way. Something like that, I would say. If I'm talking to a young mother, then I might say, well, do you know how, Anna, a lot of mothers are they realize they can't have it all, be at the office and be the mother that they're supposed to be? Well, what I do is I actually help mothers develop a profitable home-based business that allows them to be home with their children but also contribute to the total income of the household. See, something like that. It's totally different. So it's one of those things where it takes some practice, but you want to create curiosity. If you're talking to me, then you would talk to someone, I don't like my job. I'm not earning enough to buy a home or to start my life. And so you would say, well, what is it you do? Well, I help very motivated people start their own profitable home-based businesses and have more purpose and more control in their life. What? You see? So it's different for each person. There's not a canned answer. If there was a canned answer, then I do say, well, I help people start a profitable alternative medicine, medical supply businesses, but it's not wheelchairs or oxygen or canes. It's using energy medicine, things you walk on, sit on, sleep on, drink, and wear. And if they go, oh, then I'm done. If that doesn't create curiosity, then I'm done. But if they go, what is that? Or something for medical people that's quite effective is a medical person asks me what I do and I know they're medical. I said, well, do you know how medical professionals have seen a drop in their income over the last few years and more hours and less compensation? Yes. Oh, yes, that's happening to me. Oh, yeah. Well, what I do is I actually help medical professionals during their office hours make up some of that income loss they've seen go away over the last few years. What is it? What is it? La, la, la. You see? So you always want to be in curiosity with the person that's in front of you. If they have a child with autism, then you custom it more toward them. Well, I carry a line of very wonderful energy medicine, earth-based, sun-based technologies that are very good at helping the body to get better rest and sensory issues to be able to be a little bit more calm. What do you have? What do you have? See.
That's very good. Thank you. And still, there is a common denominator to what you're saying. You're saying the thing of creating curiosity, but it's also about caring yes. for the different types of people.
Oh, that's excellent. Yes.
And then also, like Mariella was talking about, that she was saying we are like a family. There's cross lines, down lines, etc. But it's like a family that helps each other, and the caring aspect, it is important to us. So, and that's also one of the things that really appeals to me, and I know appeals to a lot of others. And also with regard to women, that's an important part of who we are, really. Anyway, just finally, I just wanted to say that the webinar will be recorded, and people who are on here, you will get information about that recording so that you can forward it to people who've not listened, or if you want to listen to it again, it might be a good idea. There's been so much said here today. And there will also be information out then in a while about the next the next webinar coming up. Information will be sent out to you about that. And then finally, again, thank you everybody for listening today. And then we hope to see you again for the next webinars. And a special thank you to you, Susan, and also Mariella for being our guest host and then special guest today. Thank you very much. It's been really inspiring.
Well, thank you for having us, and I appreciate both of you ladies organizing this, all the time that you donate for the graphics and lining up the speakers. I think it's absolutely amazing, and I love the word empowering women, because we're not women that want to be in power, I-N, power. We want to be empowered. So thank you for everything that you guys do, because I know putting this together is a lot of work. So we all appreciate you doing that too.
You're welcome. We love to learn from all the best. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And see you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
So thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.